Golfunity, the most popular golf infotainment podcast in town.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Golfunity. Yeah, the most popular golf infotainment podcast in town. This is episode 21, and we are diving deep again.
That's right. We've got another great sack of sources you sent over articles, notes, research, all giving us a real window into the golf world right now. It's pretty packed.
It really is. So our mission, as always, is crystal clear. We're digging into only this material, pulling out the key insights, the surprising stats, the stuff you need to know.
Exactly. No outside noise, just what's in the sources.
Yeah.
Think of it as your curated tour through the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, LPGA, even college golf, and TGL News.
Perfect. Let's jump right in then, starting with the pros. PGA Tour's focus this week is the Charles Schwab Challenge down in Fort Worth, Texas, Colonial Country Club.
Colonial.
Yeah.
Such a classic venue. It's actually the second longest running host for a tour event, right after Augusta National for the Masters. That's some serious history there.
Definitely. And no surprise who's heading the field, right? World number one, Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah, fresh off that big PGA Championship win. He's the heavy favorite, listed around, plus 250 odds, I think?
Sounds about right. But what's really interesting, the sources highlighted the Sportsline prediction model. Apparently, it's got a pretty good track record with majors, 15 of them nailed.
Yeah, that's what the note said. And it's got a really surprising take on Jordan Spieth this week.
Wait, Spieth at Colonial? That doesn't sound right. I mean, his record there is stellar, isn't it? A win, 8 top 10s in 12 starts. Feels like his comfort zone.
That's exactly it. That's why the model fading him is so, counterintuitive. The research points to his recent form being pretty inconsistent.
Okay, so not just the course history, but the right now performance, missing the cut at the PGA.
Exactly. Missed cut there, T34 at the truest. The model seems to be really weighting that recent performance heavily.
So what are the stats saying? What's the data behind fading Spieth at a place he plays so well?
Well, the numbers are pretty stark, actually. He's ranked 71st in strokes gained, approach 82nd in greens in regulation. Plus, he's outside the top 50 in driving accuracy, birdie average, strokes gained, putting, even putts per round.
Wow.
Yeah, and his last win was the RBC Heritage back in 2022. So purely looking at those metrics, the model just doesn't see him putting it all together this week, despite, the history.
Okay, that makes more sense then. It's a purely data-driven prediction, setting aside the narrative. So if the model's fading a big name like Spieth, who does it, as maybe a longer shot?
It's pointing towards Aaron Rai. He's listed at 45-1 odds.
45-1. Okay, why him? What does the model see there?
It seems to really like how his game fits Colonial. He's 16th in greens regulation, 20th in strokes gained approach. But the big one, host speaker. He's first on tour in driving accuracy.
Okay. Crucial at Colonial, all right. Need to be in the fairway.
Absolutely critical. So his elite accuracy gives him a big leg up there. The model thinks he's got a much better shot than those odds suggest. It also mentioned targeting, four other guys at 45-1 along. Oh, and Davis Riley, the defending champ. He's 51 this week.
Interesting stuff from the model. Okay, let's hop over the pond. What are the sources saying about the DP World Tour?
They're in Belgium for the Soudal Open, Rinkfin International Golf Club, and Nacho Elvira is back to defend his title.
Defending champ. How's he feeling about it? Conditions similar to last year.
That's the interesting part. Totally different, apparently. He said last year was just very, very wet, constant rain. This year, super dry. The course is playing completely different, really firm and fast.
Oh, wow. So he's got to completely change his game plan then.
Pretty much. He mentioned, if you miss the green, the ball's just going to bounce hard into the rough because it's so dried out. He joked maybe his northern Spanish roots make him better in the rain, but he's adjusting.
And his form coming in.
He had a T7 recently at the Turkish Airlines Open, which he said was a nice little confidence boost right before trying to defend.
Good timing. Okay, let's pivot back to the major we just witnessed, the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. So much to unpack there.
Oh, absolutely. And the dominant story, of course, is Scottie Scheffler getting it done again.
Yeah.
His third major title.
Third major. And the sources, they put that into some pretty wild historical context, didn't they?
They really did. We're talking Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods territory. Scheffler's only the third guy since World War II to get 15 PGA Tour wins and 3 majors before turning 29. Just him, Jack, and Tiger.
That's just insane company to be keeping at that age. And the speed he's doing it at.
Right. He reached 15 wins faster than anyone except Nicklaus and Wood since his first victory. It took him just over 3 years. The pace is incredible.
It really frames how dominant he is right now, and his performance in the tournament itself was just commanding.
Totally. He's only the second player since '85 to win back-to-back starts by 5 shots or more. The other guy, Tiger, of course. And forget about catching him with a 54-hole lead. He's now 10 for 16 converting those, and he's won the last 6 straight. He just shuts the door.
What about his mindset through all this? The source has had some quotes, right?
Yeah, it's really telling. He says he doesn't really think about, like, big career goals or legacy or what other players are doing. It's all about his prep, the process, this endless pursuit, as he called it, of just figuring things out and getting better, competing for 72 holes.
That focus seems unshakable. Was there a moment on Sunday that kind of showed that process in action?
Yeah, the sources pointed to this cool moment on the 10th tee with his caddy, Ted Scott. Scheffler was apparently fighting shots going a bit left. Scott suggested a small alignment tweak, and bam, supposedly didn't miss a shot the rest of the round.
Wow, fixing it on the fly like that under major pressure.
Exactly. That ability is just huge. So yeah, putting it all together, the consensus from the sources is he's firmly on that path to being an all-timer. Hard to argue, really.
Truly remarkable. Now, while Scheffler ran away with it, Jon Rahm, he had a flicker of hope there, didn't he?
He did. For a moment on Sunday, he actually shared the lead. You kind of thought, okay, here we go, the Rahm-Scheffler battle we wanted.
But it didn't quite materialize. The sources said he called it a fresh wound, but also took positives.
Yeah, he mentioned having that much fun on a golf course for about 15 holes, despite the finish. But yeah, ultimately, some key mistakes cost him any real chance down the stretch.
What were those specific moments the sources highlighted?
It was a tough back nine for him. A lip putt on 13, a really bad kick off the tee on 14 that went way right. His approach on 15 ran through the green. Then there was a poor bunker shot on 14, and he blasted a putt way past the hole on 15. Just little things adding up.
Oof, that's got to sting, but probably fuels the fire for the U.S. Open.
And he had some good perspective, too, didn't he? He really did. He put it nicely, comparing golf to, like, doctors or first responders. Said if they have a bad day, terrible things happen. If he has a bad day, he just plays golf, kind of grounds things, you know?
Definitely. Okay, shifting gears again. Bryson DeChambeau, his week sounded like a real head-scratcher. Incredible driving, but the irons.
That's exactly the fascinating puzzle the sources described. The irons really let him down, especially late Saturday. He went 3 over on his last 3 holes, dropped from the solo lead to 6 shots back. That hurt.
Yeah, that's a momentum killer. But the driving was, what was the word? Bonkers.
Bonkers. Video game numbers. So you have this massive weapon off the tee, setting him up in great positions, but then the iron play wasn't precise enough to capitalize consistently.
And he's already thinking about how to fix that for Pinehurst.
Oh, yeah. He talked about needing better precision with wind, working on some tricks, maybe even looking at new equipment for the U.S. Open. Sounds like classic Bryson trying to engineer a solution.
Always tinkering. What about Rory McIlroy? The sources seem less focused on his actual score, more on the off-course stuff.
Yeah, it was noted as a weak showing on the course, but the chatter was more about other things. There was that whole non-conforming driver issue early in the week.
Right. And then he didn't talk to the media after making the cut.
Correct. One commentary called that decision equally dumb as any potentially dumb questions he might have faced, suggesting he missed a chance to just address the driver thing quickly.
Frustrating week all around, maybe. But he did announce some plans.
Yeah, positive news there. He committed to playing the first ever DP World India Championship in October. Fits with his goal to play more outside the U.S. after the FedEx Cup.
Okay. And the sources briefly mentioned some other chatter around the PGA setup, like rain, rules, tents.
Just a few notes on that. The early rain impacting play, some confusion about playing the ball down, the USGA's driver testing, and yeah, even some complaints about corporate tents, maybe blocking views for fans. Always little things that pop up at majors.
And looking at who's actually winning these things lately, the sources saw a definite pattern, right?
A very clear trend. The last 6 majors, won by Scheffler, Schauffele, McIlroy, or DeChambeau. With Scheffler and Schauffele getting 2 each in that stretch. And you throw Jon Rahm in there from his recent major wins, too.
So the takeaway is basically major hitters only right now.
Pretty much. The feeling is that group of 5, Scheffler, Schauffele, McIlroy, DeChambeau, Rahm, represents the biggest hurdle for anyone else trying to win the U.S. Open. They're just separating themselves in these huge events lately.
Makes sense. Okay, let's broaden the scope. Our sources also gave us a really great story from the LPGA down in Mexico.
Yeah, this was fantastic. All about the incredible lasting legacy of Lorena Ochoa, even 15 years after she retired. And remember, she was world number 1 for 158 straight weeks. Hall of Famer. Her impact is just immense.
Especially on the current Mexican players, right? The quotes were amazing.
So powerful. Maria Fassi basically told Ochoa, "It's your fault I'm here." Said she never would have even thought about pro golf, if not for Lorena's example. And they've apparently been close since Fassi was like 10 or 11 years old.
That's incredible. Just direct inspiration. And Ochoa's still actively involved. She's not just a legend from the past.
Not at all. She's doing amazing work with her Zuntas Association, mentoring young amateur players. They have 45 girls involved, and Ochoa calls them sponges, just soaking up knowledge.
That's fantastic. Gabby Lopez, the top Mexican player now, she works with her too.
If Lopez is involved with Zuntas, talked about their commitment to helping the girls technically and mentally, and Isabella Fierro mentioned she talks to Ochoa twice a week for advice. It's a real support system.
And it's not just the Mexican players she inspired, right?
You know, Albane Valenzuela called Ochoa the GOAT and said she's the reason she started playing. Described her as just incredibly gracious and humble. Seems like universal respect for her.
What a legacy. And the LPGA is staying in Mexico.
Looks like it. Sources mentioned a new 5-year deal for the tournament there. Great for continuing that connection.
Awesome. Switching to the college scene, the NCAA Women's Golf National Championship sounded like a nail-biter.
Oh, it really was. Huge upset, detailed in the sources. Northwestern, seeded 3rd, took down the top seed and defending champs Stanford 3-2. Won their first national title ever.
And Stanford had crushed the stroke play part, right, by like 21 shots.
Exactly. Which makes the match play upset even more dramatic. It all came down to the very last match.
How did that final point unfold? Sounds tense.
Super tense. It was Northwestern junior Diana Lee against Stanford freshman Andrea Revuelta. Lee ended up winning it with a 4-foot putt on the 18th green.
A 4-footer for the whole thing. Talk about pressure.
Seriously. And the sources said she'd had chances earlier. She was 3 up with 5 to play, lost a couple holes, missed short putts on 16 and 17 that could have clinched it. Even her birdie putt on 18 lipped out before she made the comebacker. Just incredible drama.
Wow, nerves of steel to drain that last one after all that. What did the coach say?
Northwestern's coach, Emily Fletcher, really emphasized the team's belief in themselves. Said it wasn't about proving people wrong, it was just the group believing what it thought it could do. Really cool perspective.
Great story. Okay, couple more quick hits. TGL, the tech-infused league, expansion news.
Yep, TGL's growing. Sources announced the 7th team, Motor City Golf Club, though they won't actually start playing until 2027.
Motor City. Interesting. And the ownership group has some familiar names from other sports.
It does. Pretty high-profile NFL connections. Detroit Lions owner Sheila Hamp and her husband Steve are co-owners. And Rob Walton, the Denver Broncos owner, is also involved. Interesting mix.
Definitely an interesting crossover. And just quickly remind us, TGL is the...
It's that team format, played indoors, combining simulated golf on massive screens with real short game shots. Atlanta Drive GC won the first season back in March.
Got it. And lastly, a little Ryder Cup nugget involving Sergio Garcia.
Yeah, just a quick note. Sergio was pretty blunt, saying based on his current form missing the Masters cut, poor PGA, showing he basically wouldn't welcome a captain's pick right now from Luke Donald.
Wow, that's pretty honest, acknowledging he's not playing well enough.
Exactly. Said he needs to get better to actually help Team Europe. He knows he's got about 2-3 months to turn it around before the team gets finalized. And his eligibility apparently relies on rejoining the DP World Tour, which the sources say he's reportedly done.
Okay, a lot to track there. So wrapping this all up, this deep dive has really bounced around the golf universe, hasn't it? From Scheffler's dominance and major predictions to the incredible inspiration of Lorena Ochoa, the drama of college golf, new leagues emerging.
Right. It shows how much is going on. Digging into all these different sources really does give you, the listener, that clearer, more complete picture of the whole golf landscape right now. It's never boring, that's for sure.
It really isn't. Which leads us perfectly into our final thought for you today. Consider this mix we just discussed. You've got this historically dominant world number 1, but also other major champs battling form. You have legends actively building the future of the women's game. You see the raw excitement of team competition deciding championships. And then these new tech-driven league formats gaining traction with big-name investors. So what does this blend of, tradition and intense change suggest about where professional golf is heading? Will the actual structure of the sport look fundamentally different in, say, 5 or 10 years, driven by these new formats, the global nature of it all, maybe even player power dynamics?
It's a really interesting question. So many moving parts right now.
Definitely something to mull over.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our deep dive for this week here on Golfunity, still the most popular golf infotainment podcast in town. Thanks for tuning into episode 21. Don't forget to ring the bell, follow us on social media, all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you think.
And be sure to join us next time for episode 22, where we'll have another fresh stack of sources to break down.
Head over to our social media.
Yeah?
Tell us what you think.
Let's hear it.
And give us your predictions for the future of golf.
Until next time.
Keep it in the fairway.
And hit 'em straight.